Hello, everybody. It is January 7, 1 week into 2024. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Feels like time is really speeding by. Well, that's what happens when you're having fun. Right? Right. Today was another hectic day. Dog issues, dog issues, dog issues. And it was not a fun day for me. I often have thought about those who just don't care about the four-leggeds. It must be easier to go through life. When you care, it's very hard indeed. And this guy, whoa, he does not care at all, not only what he does to one particular dog, but to any of his neighbors. He doesn't care at all. His neighbors, not only me, but others have said, just fix the fence. It's a simple fix. Just get the dog inside. It's very cold out. And it's law that the dog needs shelter. The neighbor on the other side is his boss's mother. So he'll listen to her a little bit. But he doesn't do what she wants him to do. She called him last night and said, "You better get Boo Boo inside because it's going to be very cold." "Oh, I will." And when she called, it was like 7:15. I heard Boo Boo barking at 9:30 because he ties Boo Boo up right underneath my window, my bedroom window. It is very, 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 very upsetting when he puts now a chain collar. Have you seen those fabulous pictures of dogs with chain collars that embed into their neck? I went over there because he went to work, left the dog, Boo Boo, in a lead, and it was wrapped around the leg. I must have jumped over that fence about 5 times today. I took that chain off because it was very tight. And then because he'll blame Boo Boo for everything, I made sure that Boo Boo was back on the lead just about a half hour before he gets home from work. I cannot tolerate. And I don't know how people can tolerate it when the four-legged is not treated well. It's so simple. And there is not anyone here that really cares. The boss's mother is getting really pissed. But in terms of doing anything, I made mention of maybe having a meeting with the owner of this place because the owner apparently doesn't like him. He owes the owner money, and the owner said that he's going to take this trailer out if Jose doesn't pay by the end of the month or something. And I don't think he will. He won't. It's so simple fixes. Simple fixes. All right. Yeah, it's been an upsetting day. Okay, so let me say hello to some of you who are in here. Analog Synth Player and Lindy London in the Geofactor 3. Yes, I meant Perfidious. I left out the D. Thanks for, yeah, that's what I meant. Donald J. Trump. This is a Trump quote from last night. "We need to build a dome around America." Under the Dome, the book, or watch the show Under the Dome. I didn't hear any of that. Hello, Mr. Joe. Fullerton, Kenosis, and Donna Davidson, and Andrew Cruz, and Sherry Hughes, and L78. Thank you very, very much. Much, much, much appreciated. Wonder Why. Hi. Rage Against the Machine. D. Moore. Groveland Gow. Patricia White. Hi. Oh, you know, this world could be so much better if people were just, how about just a little bit considerate of others? Just a little. Well, I'm going to show you some crazy. Life is going bonkers, you know, and people are flipping out of their minds. Marty, thank you very, very much. And Catherine Owens and Kelly Kipo, Chilex Nick and Steve Ladner. Hi. Seek and ye shall find. Hello, hello, hello. And if I've missed anybody, I apologize. Awakened Sleeper and Grout sees what you won't. And I do want to thank my subscribers for sending along some of the crazy that you will be seeing tonight. But I also have to say, it's very hard to have to repeat this over and over again. People sending me Zillow ads for rentals. I need a cosigner. I need a cosigner. People sending me things to buy. I don't have that money. And the idea of the GoFundMe was to get enough to be able to say, you know, maybe argue my way into a place saying that I'll pay a year's rent. Well, that's gone out. That didn't work because I'm paying nearly $1,200 a month to live here where I don't want to be at all. At all. And now I'm screwed. I'm just screwed. And that's not fun. But I need a cosigner. Please don't just send me, you know, these ads for places that it's obvious because on the Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever, they're saying that they want the credit checks, that they want, you know, I'm screwed. You know, and I also am really upset about the fact that subscribers have helped screw me. You know, I think about that Georgia subscriber who I should be able to get a really good reference from him. No, the toilet paper that I left for him, that he lied, that I didn't leave. I am going to be posting a video because I need to talk about this, and I don't care all of the judgment, oh, you just have to let it go, and I can't believe you're talking about it again. It sits in here, and I have nothing to work with. Nothing at all to work with. And I'm tired of feeling like crap, like I've done something wrong, when I know that I haven't done anything wrong. Yeah, and the subscriber here who completely blew me out of the water within like the first 2 weeks over something that didn't happen, but she claims it did. Okay, whatever, you know, but the whatever has left me in a really bad position. Okay, so get this thing, you know, that's inside of you straight, right, so you're not fucking up other people. Okay, it's very important. Yeah, it is very important. So, Silent Walk, Antonio Ponce, Mama Rages, hello, everybody. So, yeah, let's just, and I failed to set up as I am wont to do. But the dog issue went on for a long time, and let me just get some of this ready for you. Yeah, let's start here. Apparent tornado in Fort Lauderdale throws up debris, causes power flashes. Well, that was an obvious tornado that just suddenly, well, one would think that maybe frequencies hit it and it just eliminated itself. Boom. What's going on here? Voila. It is complete. I would not be surprised if power outages. All right, there was massive flooding in Britain.
Hello, fire service!
Locals here are no stranger to floods. But the residents of Abbey Terrace in Tewkesbury say this is the worst they've seen it in years. The Veal family have been forced to leave, taking whatever they can by kayak.
We're going to evacuate. The ground floor is no longer tenable. The sewage system doesn't work. It won't be long before the water's polluted as well. The power will go out. Well, the floors will have to come out. The plaster, up to about a metre, will come off the walls, damage furniture. The fridge, the freezer in the back, the cooker, the washing machine, the tumble dryer, all the white goods in the kitchen gone.
We've been watching river levels. We live with the river levels. We live here. We can, you can normally keep it at bay with floodgates and things like that. About 9:30 this morning, we realised it was going to rise a lot quicker and faster and deeper than predicted, what we thought.
So fast, in fact, the pumps just couldn't keep up.
This is the worst flooding they've seen in this part of Tewkesbury in more than 16 years, and that means that for some vulnerable residents, it's time to evacuate.
In some ways, it's worse than 2007, because 2007 was in the middle of summer. There was not this cold, and that's really going to be a problem for a lot of old people. Yeah.
Flood warnings remain in place right across the River Severn, but it's not just Gloucestershire. Across the southern half of the UK, heavy rain on already saturated ground is making conditions dangerous. This was the situation in Wargrave in Berkshire. Homes and a sewage works flooded. In Nottinghamshire, the council has declared a major incident due to rising river levels on the Trent.
It is extremely serious. County Council is working with district councils, with the Environment Agency, with other agencies to work hard to make sure that people are protected and as safe as possible.
Back in Tewkesbury, most residents in Abbey Terrace are getting out.
So we're going to go and spend a couple of nights in a hotel. We've got 3 beautiful cats up there. So we've locked them in the top 3 floors. And there's some food and the litter trays and some beds. They're okay, and hopefully it won't get higher than it is.
Oh boy. Okie dokie, yeah.
That 3 pumps are broke. That the rain has stopped for now doesn't help when the water's already inside your home.
I wasn't expecting it. Quite often they say that we're going to flood, and then I woke up this morning to this. It was a bit of a shock. For my sister-in-law now, you've got to try and get the water out, get a house dry and livable again. Well, it's just not nice, is it? It's not a nice feeling. So all what you've worked for could just be washed away. So it's just not nice.
It was the early hours of this morning when this street filled with water, and then that water forced its way inside people's homes. And, you know, just look, the sandbags that people have got in their doorways done very little to keep the water out. In places, it's up to your thighs. This area flooded back in 2007, so people here, they know what's in store. And that is months of things being very difficult as they try to get their homes dry and put everything back in order. Some people left last night, others stayed, not wanting to leave behind pets. But then this morning, with the water in, needed to move. It's been the same for many others in many parts of England this week. It's estimated more than 1,000 properties have been flooded. In Nottinghamshire, where a major incident was declared earlier this week, the River Trent is still so full, warnings remain in place. Weather events, once said to be exceptional, according to Nick Green from the Environment Agency, do seem to be happening much more often.
I can honestly say I'm into double digits, the amount of big floods that we've had. Climate change, I don't know, but I think...
Oh my God. Well, at the end of this broadcast, the reporter says, yes, climate change. It's climate change. Look at this. England facing worse flooding in over a decade. And guess what? A lot of the farms were flooded out. Cows died. And yeah, this is what the weather terrorists do all the time.
England is facing some of its worst flooding since 2007 after Storm Hank drenched central parts of the country earlier this week. Today, there are nearly 600 flood warnings and alerts in place, with several communities already completely submerged and hundreds of homes already flooded. Anna Cunningham is tracking this story for us from London this morning, and she joins me now. Anna, we're looking at those images, all of that water and now all of the warnings. So take us through just how bad the flooding is there right now and what we can expect to see in the few days.
Well, Marianne, I've just checked the UK's Environment Agency report. It's currently got 300 flood alerts in place across England, meaning flooding's highly likely, and 278 flood warnings. So flooding is expected in those areas. Now, the worst affected areas we're seeing is definitely up in the Midlands, so in central England. There has been a major incident declared in the county of Nottinghamshire, which is in the East Midlands. Water levels there are rising along the River Trent, and in Gloucestershire there's historic towns such as Tewkesbury and Shrewsbury. They are now surrounded by floodwaters. The River Severn there is rising. Roads have been cut off. There's hundreds of residents who've been told to evacuate their homes. In terms of why this has actually happened, we did get hit heavily here in the UK by Storm Hank earlier this week. Really strong winds and heavy rains, leaving that ground saturated and prone to flooding, so those rivers breaking their banks. We do know that 2 drivers have died this week. Trees fell on their cars. But also in the Midlands, just to let you know, I mean, there's a lot of farmland up there. So farmers are saying they've been affected. In Derbyshire, there was a group of cows that drowned in a field. Parts of Wales also impacted by flooding. And even here in London, you know, it tends to have its own kind of microclimate, but it hasn't gone unaffected. I was out last night, Marianne, in the car, and it was torrential rain. Local roads were flooding. Even on the Thames, there are reports of a party boat that sank there. But we are due to see some drier weather over the coming days. Senior meteorologists saying that this is connected to climate change, these events. But hopefully with drier weather, those floodwaters will begin to recede.
All right. Thanks so much for the update.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. It's just an oh, man. Omen. Omen. And now it's a cold weather alert with all of that water. And yeah, there were a number of homes that got damaged from the flooding that occurred, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago. Looked like a mini tsunami coming up the coast, right inland in Ventura County, California.
Now, the high surf across Southern California. Swells there reaching 15, 18 feet. Some sets close to 20 feet. Waves poured over walls, causing flooding and damage to homes. The Ventura County Fire Department made multiple rescues. They say 8 people were hurt. Officials also say the waves have the potential to damage piers and jetties. Due to the anticipated high surf, all public beaches in Oxnard will be closed today through Sunday.
This is San Diego.
So when you think about all of the people who have suffered this evil, they're all put into survival mode. And when you put people into survival mode, well, that's what they do, survive. It is very hard to do anything but that. And it's a very, self-centering condition, survival mode. You're concerned about your own survival, and it's hard to think outside of that. It is very hard. Trust me. So look at this. This is the Philippines. Fish jumping out of the water. Lovely skies, huh? Okay, what do we know about this area? We know that in between the Philippines and Australia, there is a tremendous amount of naval, with other countries, naval exercises, the use of sonic weapons. And here is Real Fishing Life. I'm going to post the link to his tweet here. You might want to follow him on Twitter because he posts quite a bit about our lovely environment.
Very beautiful, guys, but I want to talk about these dead trees y'all can see. The green ones, I believe, are hemlock, and the dead ones are Sitka spruce. The entire mountainside out here, the spruce are dead. Something is going on. They claim it's a beetle, but I've never seen beetles kill entire mountainsides of trees. I'm afraid it's these guys, chemtrailers. Chemtrailing heavy today. They're killing our planet, guys. Y'all need to wake up. We're not playing here. It's not a conspiracy. That is a chemtrail spread out. Killing everything. Dead trees everywhere. Have a good day.
Yes, and he is quite right. Yeah. And what's happening in Germany is, well, I love seeing it. Much respect to everyone who's involved in this protest. The farmers' convoy. Farmers are preparing throughout Germany and all are already on their way to set up blockades, close roads, and protest against the government's proposed measures. And wish it would inspire Americans. But this is huge. What's happening? In fact, concerned citizen rights despite their latest victory versus the German parliament in halting obscene climate change hoax-related legislation designed to bankrupt farmers, they are not stopping. So this protest gave them the victory of agricultural diesel tax, and they were able to stop that. But there's so much more, and they're not stopping. And it's interesting what he writes here. The Dutch farming community, who fought so hard in 2023, are also joining them. Shame the Atlantic is in the way, so the Canadian truckers cannot also support. No mention of Americans at all. Because people know what Americans, on the whole, are all about. Germany goes off the rails as mob storms minister's ferry while he is on it. Media silent on the biggest protest ever.
Minister had a scare when protesting farmers prevented him from disembarking from a ferry that he was traveling on. Economy Minister Robert Habeck was returning from holiday. Farmers have been up in arms over government plans to withdraw tax breaks for the agricultural sector. Habeck later reached the mainland safely.
And Habeck is a World Economic Forum guy. And listen to this. And get it, a whole lot of channels are going to go down when they start censoring all of the climate change videos, those who are not going along with the narrative.
Our food systems are harming the health of people and planet. Food systems contribute to over 30% of greenhouse gas emissions and account for almost 1/3 of the global burden of disease. Transforming food systems is therefore essential by shifting towards healthier, diversified, and more plant-based diets. If food systems delivered healthy diets for all, we could save 8 million lives per year. WHO is committed to supporting countries to develop and implement policies to improve diets and fight climate change. I'm therefore very pleased that over 130 countries have signed the COP28 UAE Declaration on Climate and Health. Together, we can protect and promote the health of both people and planet. I thank you.
Oh, yes. The tyrant Tedros. Farmers kill 8 million people every year. It's the farming. We've got to get rid of farming. Do you think that they're going to get rid of the food for Tedros and his buddies? No. They're going to get rid of food for us, though. And here, again, Greenpeace co-founder Dr. Patrick Moore, there is no definitive scientific proof that CO2 is responsible for any of the slight warming.
Publicly on many occasions, there is no definitive scientific proof through real-world observation that carbon dioxide is responsible for any of the slight warming of the global climate that has occurred during the last 300 years since the peak of the Little Ice Age. If there were such a proof, through testing and replication, it would have been written down for all of us to see. The contention that human emissions are now the dominant influence on climate is simply a hypothesis, rather than a universally accepted scientific theory. It is therefore correct, indeed, verging on the compulsory in the scientific tradition, to be skeptical of those who express certainty that the science is settled and the debate is over. But there is certainty beyond a reasonable doubt that CO2 is the building block for all life on Earth, and that without its presence in the global atmosphere at sufficient concentration, this would be a dead planet. Yet today our children and our publics are taught that CO2 is a toxic pollutant that will destroy life and bring civilization to its knees.
And I guess that's why they're going with this. This was awesome. A sunrise in Lukeville, Arizona. Most were, but some were just stunning. Really? That's stunning? Is it really stunning? That looks so artificial, so manufactured, and so toxic. Because it is. Stunning.
Flooding in the mountains. 4 months of rain in 48 hours thanks to geoengineering. It's summertime here in Australia. Look at that. This is not meant to be happening. The drains are completely blocked now. Properties are starting to flood, including ours. This is all engineered. This is government terrorism. No one voted for this. No one asked for this. Australia doesn't need this. It's in summertime. We're all meant to be sitting on the beach. And yet it continues, and some people believe that geoengineering doesn't even exist.
Well, let's listen to another White Rabbit podcast.
I'm coming back from lunch. It's a hot, hot day. And of course, I look up and in the sky is chemtrails. And I'm looking at the chemtrails and how they're blocking out sort of the first nice day of sun of summer that we've had. And I'm thinking, what other reason could there be for a bunch of environmentalists to spray barium sulfate, aluminium, and other metallic particulates into the sky? Now, they tell us they're reflective material to try and block out the sun. I think it was Bill Gates that said, you know, that was the reason we can bring it down. You know, nothing is stopping the sun. So what other kind of conversation? Because the conversations we have are always engineered by them. The power of suggestion is so enormous in human beings. We underestimate it. Look what it's done over the last 3 or 4 years. What conversations are we not having? That's what I like to look at. What other reason could there be for particulate matter to be sprayed into the atmosphere? Sort of pixelating the atmosphere, perhaps? Could it be as a background for Project Bluebeam? You know, that in order for these holograms, these aliens that are going to come to be believable, we have to have this particulate matter sprayed into the atmosphere to kind of calm down the blueness of the sky. I don't know. But yesterday in a mall in Miami, an awful lot of people believed that they saw like a 7-foot alien, and those with open carry drew their weapons, and I think some of them fired. I think like every police force in the area responded, and it was strange that they were all ready to go as well. It was almost like it was a test there in the mall as to how susceptible people are to the power of suggestion. And how unsurprising, let's say, would it be if millions of people, billions of people, drop dead of a heart attack, turn up the old frequency, at the sight of aliens? Wasn't our fault. We don't know what it was. We'll try to investigate. We'll set up a government department. Millions of people drop dead from shock. It's not so unbelievable.
And we will get to that Miami business in a second. But things are just not right. Right smack out in the open, right? Yeah. All right. Important here. There's an important message. See if you can spot it. St. Louis mask mandate rescinded less than 24 hours after woke health officials get trigger happy. Okay. City of St. Louis reversed course less than 24 hours after implementing mask mandates, announcing Friday afternoon that it would no longer require city employees to mask up while working, following pushback from hospitals, health experts, and the governor. What's the message here? The pushback. Every community, whenever these health officials go, mask mandate, push back. Push back against it. They're coming out. We have the headlines already. We have a triple-demic. The flu, RSV, respiratory virus, and COVID. Mask up, everybody. Mask up. Texas American rancher says U.S. government facilitating plans for a planned food shortage and depopulation. Let's listen to him.
Hey everybody, this is Shad Sullivan coming to you from the headwaters of Bitter Creek, Archer County, North Texas. We have to talk. State officials will be assisting to help identify potential alternative markets if a producer is unable to move animals, and if necessary, advise and assist on depopulation and disposal methods. Ladies and gentlemen, we are plowing under vegetable crops from coast to coast. We are euthanizing millions of chickens. We are aborting sows and burying feeder pigs. We are dumping milk by the hundreds of thousands of gallons, and now they are preparing us to depopulate the fat cattle ready to harvest because of a bottleneck created by the effects of COVID. This thing hasn't been created by COVID, but the effects of COVID and the logistics therein. We are in trouble. Our food supply is in trouble, and I am appealing to producers and consumers across the nation to start calling. Yesterday, the first shipment of imported beef from the country of Namibia hit the shores of the United States of America. And yet this morning, they are telling us to prepare to euthanize harvest-ready cattle. Am I the only one that sees a problem in this? It is time we get the American people back to work. It is time we get money flowing. It is time we get food on the shelves. Because if you're not concerned about this food supply problem, you better be.
Oh, sorry, I didn't turn my mic off for that, but, so, again, I'm not entirely sure when he posted that video. I've seen other videos of his, but this one I had not seen.
Hey everybody, this is Shad
But
Sullivan coming to you.
But I do know that this is taking place. Yes, they are literally throwing away our food, paying farmers to just destroy their crops. Doesn't that sound a little odd to you? I'm telling you, I don't know what to say about Americans anymore. I don't know you. So when I say Americans, I'm talking about just generally. On the whole, the general that I'm talking about is huge. A huge amount of our population, awake or asleep, do nothing. Do nothing. They do nothing to protect themselves. It's frightening with the awake crowd because they know. They know and still don't do anything. On the whole, the awake crowd. I don't know you. Okay, so if you take it personally, I do have to question you. Why are you taking it personally? Maybe because you're not doing anything. But we have a serious problem. Yeah, a lot of them. A whole lot of them. And, you know, Europeans, you know, the Germans, the Dutch, a whole lot, the French have a whole lot of problems. But they're out. They've been out on the streets for a long time. Canadians, the huge trucker convoy. Any of you wonder why Americans are dead, asleep, no matter how much they know about what is taking place? Buildings bordered. I posted this on the video section of my channel. Buildings boarded up with residents inside.
Residents at a Harvey apartment complex. A crew showed up on Friday night to board up the property. Video posted on social media showing people pointing to residents who were still inside the building and boarded into their apartments.
All right, so I just want to get to this woman who is talking about having no place to go.
I have people that would probably help me, but where am I moving to? On Section 8, there's a 30-day minimum window. It has the apartment you choose has to be inspected, and I can't just jump up and move.
And she's also, she's been undergoing treatment for cancer. Just put them out on the street.
Their homes.
But listen to this guy.
That's a total exaggeration. Nobody's been boarded up inside any of the apartments. I know for a fact, I spoke with the police chief, nobody has been boarded up inside any apartment. That is a total exaggeration. I repeat.
No one.
The door? Yeah. And you stuck up in there? All right, hold on.
That's the voice of Rudolph Williams, confined to his apartment after it was boarded up while he was still inside. His pleas for help now viral on TikTok.
Oh, yeah, there's an old man boarded up in this apartment right here. There's someone still in this apartment. How are he going to get out?
So you were literally trapped inside? Yes. In a statement from the city of Harvey, owners were notified of a mandatory evacuation by October 28th, citing the building's structural integrity had surpassed life expectancy. Also, numerous 911 calls of illegal activities at the property located 144th and Halsted. In December, residents received this letter after the building department determined the properties posed an imminent safety risk due to deterioration of balconies and staircases.
I didn't hear anybody knock on the door after this morning.
Now with non-occupancy orders posted on more than 30 units. Friday afternoon, apartment windows indoors were boarded up. Residents say at least 5 families were still inside and or had their belongings still in place.
No one's inside. That's that guy. No one's inside. Complete exaggeration. And here's another video where they're showing that people are inside. Yeah, something's wrong here, okay? Something's very wrong. Travelers on a JetBlue flight were forced to evacuate after a backpack burst into flames. What do you think it was? Maybe that lithium battery in a cell phone?
This is the moment after an explosion on board a JetBlue flight to Fort Lauderdale from New York's JFK on Monday.
Oh my God, where's my phone?
Flight attendants pouring bottled water on a bag to contain the flames,
And your cell phone!
while people try to exit the plane during a chaotic evacuation.
Okay, we'll get it out. My first reaction was like, wow, like this is an attack. Like I thought someone attacked me. I had no clue what to think.
The exploded backpack belonged to 25-year-old Jimmy Levy from Aventura.
We fell asleep and I laid my head against the window, and like 2 minutes later a giant explosion came and the ball of fire, which was my backpack, came right towards my face. I was shocked. When I pushed down the backpack, it kind of landed on my lap, so it started burning my thigh right away. And then I pushed it down to the ground, started stomping on it.
Levy says officials told him it was his portable phone charger battery that exploded inside the backpack.
You know, my message is like, be careful. I guess what you have, any type of battery or charger can just go off at any time.
This is the moment after an explosion on board a JetBlue flight to Fort Lauderdale from New York's JFK on Monday.
Oh my God, where's my phone?
Flight attendants pouring bottled water on a bag to contain the flames.
And your cell.
Unbelievable. This technology. It sure has freed up our time, right? Wasn't that one of the things that they were saying? With the internet, with computers, it's just going to free up so much time. Glued to the technology. Vandals blamed for the subway derailment in New York. Vandals
Are being blamed for a subway derailment in New York. Investigators claim they pulled the emergency brakes in an empty train car, causing a major domino effect.
Shuttle buses continue to bridge the gap as hundreds of MTA employees work meticulously to remove the damaged trains underground.
There is a lot of damage to the trains. There's a lot of damage along the track.
Investigators say vandals pulled the emergency brakes in an empty train car, which led to a domino effect. Crew members were instructed by their control center to cut the brakes so they could push the train into a rail yard. But that's when it collided with a passenger train Thursday afternoon at the 96th Street subway station.
I'm sorry, pulling the emergency brake in a subway should not have created the domino effect, the collision. That is such bullshit right there. Okay? Okay. There's little one, and there's babe that you see walking, and it's pretty wet outside. We got snow and rain today, so yeah. Freedom finds a way. Bald eagle attacks government drone and sends it to the bottom of Lake Michigan. Cool. I like it. Keep at it. Homeless in America. Just a few minutes.
A new government report estimates a record number of Americans are experiencing homelessness. Starting in 2007, the Department of Housing and Urban Development sent volunteers out on a single night each January to count all the people they could find who didn't have shelter. Experts caution that this is not a census and it's likely an undercount because it's hard to find everyone experiencing homelessness on a single night. This year, they counted more than 650,000. That's a 12% increase over the last year, the biggest one-year jump on record and more than 4 times greater than any previous increase. In the past, a single category drove the increase, but this year, all categories went up. Individuals, families, unaccompanied children, and so on.
And the elderly. All categories have gone up. If you want to listen to this PBS News Hour bit on the homelessness, go ahead. I put the link in the chat for you. But I will say that the number of homeless in our country has remained at 500,000 for, I'd say, about 2 decades. That's not right. We have far more homeless. Now, those numbers are coming from shelters, those who are actually accounted for, whether it's shelters or somebody going out and maybe counting people, in these encampments. But no, the number is much higher. And I couldn't believe, because I've been posting on the homelessness for quite a while, for many, many years. And the number stayed the same, and it stayed the same. And I knew that there was more going homeless, but it stayed the same. How is that possible? But just this year, it went up, 150,000? No, I'm sorry. The numbers are very low. And I'm going to leave the link to this America's Broken Dream. It's very heartbreaking to see what's happening. This man here had a job, had a home, was a manager of some division of a company, lost his job, the company shut down, then he lost his home. He, his wife, and 2 children living in a hotel that is like $149 a week, and he gets paid $220 a week working at Disney. Yeah, it's heartbreaking to see what's happening to people. And there's more people in this video here. Best documentary on their channel. So, yeah, the homeless situation in our country is beyond heartbreaking, especially when you see the elderly going homeless because they can't afford their rent. But then you see all of these illegal migrants. Do we need to care? Yeah. Do we need to genuinely care? Yeah. There's a difference between saying you care because you're watching a video and, it's sparking, maybe some emotion or some, intellectual thought about, oh boy, what a shame. I really care. I was that person. And when I did more and more and more work on myself, I learned the difference between generative care and bullshit care. And a whole lot of Americans are on the level of bullshit care. Care, if you care about something, you can't not do something to, alleviate the suffering that you're seeing. You can't not do something to help resolve a problem. That's the generative care. That's the genuine care. So, we have a whole lot on the bullshit care. And you can see what people care about by watching them. Listen to them and then watch them. And you will be able to see, what they say and what they do, it doesn't match. Pension fund crisis. Just a reminder, this is on the California State Teachers Retirement System, but pensions all over the country. Unfortunately, they are using the money to invest in a whole lot, and pensions, I hope that you're not one of those who are hoping for a pension, because too much is going on. They're speeding up the track, and you're not going to see it. Brazen shooting inside popular sports bar and restaurant leaves Chicago neighborhood on edge.
Attack happened inside this popular restaurant and bar and left one man fighting for his life. This community on edge tonight after a man is critically wounded when gunfire erupts during an argument inside a busy Bridgeport restaurant.
Well, I don't know, I'm not coming back. I don't know. It's crazy.
It happened around 11:30 Friday night at the Buffalo Wings and Rings on Chicago's near south side, frightening some patrons and neighborhood residents.
I'm supposed to go come back here.
Witnesses tell police the trouble began shortly after a 32-year-old man was approached by two other men and got into some sort of verbal dispute inside the busy eatery located near 34th and Halsted Streets.
Hey, it's a nice spot, watch sports. This is where I usually come. I bring my girl and we sit down.
Investigators say it wasn't long after the men started arguing with the man that one of them pulled out a gun and shot the victim several times before running out of the restaurant. The community is shocked.
We really don't see anything crazy going on. So this is like, within my 8 years working here, this is my first time seeing something like this happening next door.
The victim was rushed to an area hospital in critical condition.
So many shootings all over. But Kelly, Kibo, I just want to say, I'm with you. Absolutely. The white Anglo-Saxon family sucks. Hispanics are more family-oriented. There's a whole lot of family-oriented people who are not American, white Americans. So Kelly writes, I've noticed a lot of white people believe they are giving their homeless family members tough love. I have yet to see any Hispanic homeless people. Just think it's worth noting. It is worth noting. Because, yeah, I've seen it. I've heard from others who've experienced it. I experience it myself, but my family is off the charts evil. So a whole lot of families want to believe the horse shit coming out of, their politicians, believing that Bidenomics has helped, the economy. And the economy is fine. And we've got low unemployment. The jobs are out there because they don't want to help. They don't want to help their own family members. How sick is that? But you have an awful lot who are the non-white of different ethnicities who open the doors. Come on in. They don't let. They're far more. Family is really important. There's a whole lot of Americans who just, too bad for you. Family is the most important thing in life. Most important thing in life. And family members should absolutely be there for one another when there's crisis. It is the most important thing in life. And it's the thing that brings a sense of security to the individuals in that family, that thing that can bring joy to the individuals in that family. And there are so many families that are so unbelievably screwed up, messed up, cruel to one another. It's one of the reasons why we're living a nightmare.
Eatery is the latest restaurant in the city to shut its doors. The owners of this decade-old restaurant say increased crime in the city is to blame. New at 10, KTVU's Zach Sauce was there for the last service tonight. Joining us now in studio, Zach.
Yeah, and Christina, a good showing for that last service. But the owners, they say that's not been the norm. Crime, they say, making it difficult to do business. 2 years ago, gates were installed to keep burglars from breaking in. That kept the restaurant safe, but not their customers outside.
It's sadness, it's anger, it's very bittersweet.
Sarah Ryan on the floor for one last night at her downtown Oakland eatery.
Calavera has been a staple for close to 10 years.
Once a go-to for upscale Mexican cuisine, the owner fighting back tears at the thought of saying goodbye to her committed staff.
They work hard and they love what they do. Blood, sweat, and tears.
And angry about the state of the city.
We feel like the city is not helping us in any way to reduce crime. I understand that they're trying their best, but it's not enough.
Originally opened by the owners of Chop Bar, which also shuttered in July, Ryan became a co-owner of Calavera a year ago.
The Oakland community has been, outpouring of love has been amazing the last 4 days.
Just 4 months earlier, Calavera, in solidarity with other Oakland restaurants and businesses, temporarily shut up shop for the day to protest the city's handling of crime. Ahead of the strike, organizers met at the restaurant to hash out their plans. Oakland Chinatown leader Carl Chan, who helped spearhead the effort at the time, calling on the city to do more and for the governor and county to also step in with added law enforcement.
So governments are not there to help anyone, and everything is just going to get far worse because this is part of the plan. Why fears over a triple-demic are surging? Oh, cases of 3 major respiratory viruses, the flu, COVID-19, and RSV, are surging in the U.S., pushing the country toward a feared triple-demic during its first post-pandemic respiratory viral season. They'll never, ever give up. For sure, that term, COVID-19. Because they got to keep it in everybody's mind. It's still alive. Oh my God, being here, if there's a mask mandate or anything, I won't survive that, for sure. So, I'm going to read some of this article. I'll post the link to it. This is Michael Schneider, who's writing about the surveillance system. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is allowing them to construct a global surveillance prison from which no escape is possible. That's what a whole lot of, I believe, the prepping wake crowd are not getting. There is no escape. None. Not in what they have constructed for us. Every inch of our planet is being watched, and incredibly sophisticated artificial intelligence solutions make it possible for those who are watching our planet to find whatever they want in just minutes. You can try to run, you can try to hide, but if they really want to find you, it won't be very difficult. All around us, global surveillance prison is being constructed, even if you completely stay off the internet and you totally avoid all forms of modern technology. Cameras and satellites will still be endlessly watching you. And once your face has been identified, artificial intelligence can be used to locate you wherever you pop up on the entire planet. So what was that show? It was a TV show, and it was this system. It was artificial intelligence that was capturing everybody with facial recognition. Can't remember it. Can't remember the title. Corey Jaskowski is the CEO of an artificial intelligence company known as Synthetic. Really can find anything you want anywhere in the world. Well, we all know this, right? In the wrong hands, such technology could potentially be used to enforce tyranny on a scale never seen before in all of our human history. And we've got it going. Oh, man. That sounds great, huh?
I'm going to try to get through this. Thank you for what you did 3 years ago today. please tell me your thoughts on this third anniversary.
Are you flipping kidding me? This is an MSNBC reporter, Jonathan Capehart, talking with a former D.C. police officer, Michael Fanoni, about his new book, January 6th. They're still going with this. And I'm sorry, but I'm so tired of the fake flippin' tears. Listen to this guy.
Thank you for what you did 3 years ago today. Please.
Please. Okay, that's the lead up to an article that I'm going to read. Right here. The perfidious unreality of the new normal. I left out the D, I'm sorry, in my title. So, what's with all the fake crying? I am going to read most of this because it's a very good article, and I'm going to put the link in the chat because it's that good. Okay? So, I hope my highlighting didn't come off when I refreshed. Let's go back and see. Oh shit, it did. Oh no. Oh good. So what's with all the fake crying? Rachel Maddow pretended to cry about kids in cages. Matt Hancock pretended to cry about COVID vaccines. Sarah Sidner pretended to cry over COVID. Anderson Cooper pretended to cry about Israel. So did John Kirby. Van Jones pretended to cry after Biden won the 2020 election. Adam Schiff, Adam Kinzinger, both pretended to cry about January 6th. Don Lemon pretends to cry about pretty much everything. They all do it, and they're all so bad at it. Speaking of pretending badly, remember those early photos of people in China lying in the street, straight as planks, supposedly killed by this? Right there? As if this was scary new stuff, right? The mid-step, topple over, boom. During the run-up to the 2020 election, pretending badly was happening everywhere. We were told over and over again, it's going to look like Trump won, but then Biden will win at the last minute because of postal ballots. Gosh darn it, they were right. Out of nowhere, Joe Biden, creepy Uncle Joe, who in early 2020 was obviously the least popular Democratic candidate and even more obviously going senile, is transmogrified into the most popular presidential candidate. Ooh, that was pretty wow to me when I was watching that. Yeah, the most popular presidential candidate of all time, shattering the popular vote records by over 13 million votes. Such is the power of bad pretending, when you just don't give a crap about plausibility or boring details of historical precedent. That was, of course, following Biden's miracle turnaround in the primaries, where massive defeats in Iowa and New Hampshire left his campaign teetering on the abyss, but nope. The guy won. It was a historic win. On election night, they presented us with badly pretend graphs like this. They reported that counting the first 99% of the vote took a few hours, and that counting the last 1% in a couple of swing states took 2 weeks, and told us this was all totally normal and that anyone who said otherwise was an election denier. On January 6, 2021, they showed you an quote-unquote insurrection a word that used to mean an armed attempt to seize government by force, but now means some guy in a buffalo hat putting his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Then they told you to be afraid for the fate of democracy, which their previously blatant election rigging had just demonstrated does not exist. Bad pretending at its most brazenly ballsy. The airwaves have been saturated with this since at least 2020. Well, it was building up prior to that. Remember those lovable doctors and nurses shooting increasingly elaborate music videos during a supposedly deadly pandemic? Or doctors saying BLM protesters don't have to stay home? Or social distance because racism is a worse pandemic? Blatantly bad pretending. The Israel-Hamas war has also produced some similar scenes. I mean, what is this Busby Berkeley 4K drone footage routine supposed to be telling us? I'm making you cry. Dozens of perfectly synchronized and choreographed women doing yoga poses of supposed hostages, over posters of the hostages, as if it's the most normal thing in the world, when it's just not. Who responds to a loved one being taken hostage by calling all their friends and arranging a synchronized yoga session? So what are we looking at? How is this related to the real world? Well, don't forget terrorists on motorized hang gliders junting along at a leisurely pace, into some of the most defended airspace on the planet. And of course, Hamas is, well, Hamas, Israel, U.S., they work together. Operating out of the world's largest open-air prison with only a couple of hours of electricity a day and limited food and fresh water, but somehow putting together professionally edited high-definition music videos of them making improvised weapons. And we're not supposed to ask how or why. After the alleged bombing of Al-Hali Arab Hospital, doctors held a press conference. I didn't see this. Surrounded by dead bodies. Okay. So did they bring the bodies to the podium, or the podium to the bodies? And why exactly in either case? Is it sensible? Is it respectful? Is it even sanitary? Stacking corpses, then running electrical and audio cables over them in a very hot weather under bright television lights? Well, I don't see too much of the Hamas propaganda videos. I want to somehow justify this, for these doctors, but you can't justify it because this is utterly insane. Presumably, the mourning families had to wait to collect their dead until after the press conference. Hopefully they didn't mind. I mean, you'd be okay with your deceased loved one being used as set dressing for oppressor, wouldn't you? All the while, Israel continued carpet bombing a relatively small and very densely populated urban area in the name of saving hostages that A, they had made seemingly no effort to recover, and B, could easily have been inside one or more of the buildings they were leveling. And no, please, I am not claiming people are not dying. Don't grab for that easy, lazy assumption as a reason to switch off. People are dying. People are being murdered and degraded, and their corpses used as set dressing for globalist agenda drives. And I have said on Twitter, now I don't go to any of the other telegrams or Instagram or Twitter, it is flooded with videos of the IDF, their TikTok videos, showing the IDF soldiers as so evil and psychopathic, but it's also flooded with an awful lot of the dead and injured in Gaza. It's flooded with a whole lot of Jews stealing the homes of Palestinians in West Bank. And considering we know what they can do to censor out an awful lot of this, but it's not being censored. And I've said this in many lives, that I really have to wonder if they're not censoring an awful lot of this information to get the world's people going. And the world's people are going on what's happening in Israel and the Gaza Strip and West Bank, now Lebanon, and Red Sea is, seemingly exploding more and more. They want people, I think, to hate Israelis, to hate Americans, because an awful lot are, rightfully so, talking about Americans. And we are there. There are Americans fighting on the ground. In fact, there's an article, and I think I have it queued up. Are we really going to be having Americans die in this war? Well, guess what? Yeah. Because they are already. So, yes, they are dying. They are degraded and humiliated and murdered. But that doesn't change the fact the narrative rationalization for the killing and for so much else is literal madness. And they're conditioning people not to say it and eventually not to even see the madness. Look around you. See it while you still can. They kill people while claiming to save lives. They push these while admitting they don't work. They present the physically impossible as an ongoing reality. They completely invert the meaning of words and yet claim nothing has changed. They attack reason as irrationality and tell you insanity is sense. They paint farce as tragedy and real tragedy as, well, it's a necessary evil, or not tragedy at all. They laugh and tell you they are crying. They almost literally report 2 + 2 = 5 and call anyone who claims it's 4 a 5 denier. Is this just the symptom of an establishment and media so far removed from normal human experience they no longer understand it well enough to fake it? Perhaps, but I think it could be something more. I have argued before that a primary goal of the new normal agenda is to disrupt each human individual's relationship with the real world. I'm in agreement. Kit's piece on the United Nations Global Digital Compact, he describes as the final aim of globalist policy is control of all aspects of life achieved by inserting a digital filter between people and reality. Banking, communication, media consumption, shopping, every interaction you have will be through a digital membrane which can both monitor your exchanges with the world and, if deemed necessary, deny you access to that world. By making every purchase remote, every interaction digital, they can effectively disrupt everybody's ability to interact with reality. However, it could be there's also a more subtle and potentially destructive policy at play, one that attacks people's ability to understand or even perceive that reality. And I will say that it's still easy to understand and perceive the reality that you are living if you have done some research, you're a responsible adult, and you've spent some time doing research on the agendas. And then you can really see what's taking place. Not so hard to understand. But, oh, there's football tonight, so I can't do any research. A war on, for want of a better word, realness. A war on realness. The physical laws that govern our world, the emotional responses of human to human, the very existence of rational thought. This is the perfidious unreality of the new normal, nurturing and normalizing a pervasive, persistent state of non-real. Why? What is the benefit of cultivating unreality? That's a complicated question with a twisting trail of intertwining potential answers. I have written before about the psychopathic individual's tendency to lie for no purpose, to lie even when the truth would serve their interest better. This is because psychopaths are control addicts, and the ultimate expression of control is to create a fake world and make people live in it. And it's already here. It applies to institutions as well as individuals, perhaps more so to an authoritarian ruling elite. Insane narratives serve as both loyalty test and humiliation ritual. If they give you something impossible to believe and you don't question it, you are demonstrating greater loyalty to the authority above you than to the reality around you. The more absurd the lie you believe or claim to believe or just accept or do nothing about, the more loyal you are to the party. It doesn't matter if people say, I don't believe that, but hold nobody accountable and do nothing about it. You're demonstrating your loyalty to the party. The more you pretzel your own mind at the command of the establishment, the lower you sink in obeisance. Is that the correct pronunciation? It doesn't sound right. The more you humiliate yourself. Absolutely. And a whole lot of people are being humiliated and they don't even realize it. The more you humiliate yourself, the more you are no longer your own person. Humiliation is the ultimate demonstration of control, and demonstrating control is important to a grasping power structure built on insecurity and forever teetering on the edge of collapse. This idea of social control via collective belief predates that thing in 2020 by decades. Take the magic bullet theory, Americans. The Warren Commission, just like the 9/11 Commission, coming out with bullshit. I love my bullshit. Oh, please, feed it to me. Like I'm a little baby. I'll open my mouth. More bullshit, please. Magic bullet theory. Yeah, that one bullet that just killed JFK. Yeah. Well, guess what? Americans did nothing about that. But a whole lot of people want to claim that it's the technology that is keeping people down. No. This is the American way. Sorry to say. People of the lie. Bullshit. Give me some more bullshit. I love the bullshit. Take the magic bullet theory and explanation, which is no explanation at all. Theoretical physics stretched to near breaking point. It literally has the word magic in it. And people repeated it, maybe even believed it, rather than deal with the real world in which such an idea was completely and utterly beyond ridiculous. Trading in their sanity for the comfort of belonging and the comfort of not having to do anything. Telling outrageously nonsensical lies allow you to demonstrate your power over people, but it allows you to cultivate that power, to prepare soil where useful lies can take root easily, because it's easy to lie to people who have no idea what truth means. Yeah, and a whole lot of Americans don't even think about truth, know what it means, that they're living a lie. They are completely and utterly clueless, just, useless eaters. If I convince you to abandon sense, my narratives are no longer bound by the crushing monotony of causality, linear time, or the laws of physics. In a world of no reason or rule, everything I tell you becomes inherently believable. In a world where nothing is true, anything could be. I can tell you that me taking your money makes us both richer, and you'll never realize I'm robbing you. I can tell you that bars and chains are an expression of freedom, and you'll never realize you're my slave. In short, they use crazy narratives to erode the idea of objective truth, because if you don't even know such a thing exists, you are a lot easier to control. This is the perfidious unreality of the new normal. It's not just about deception or fakery or propaganda. It's about breaking your spirit and your mind. And yeah, aren't we there? It is so upsetting. It is so upsetting. Good article. Speaker Johnson. Dr. Carol Swain. If Speaker Johnson can't handle something as simple as the release of the promised January 6 tapes, how can he be trusted on any other issue that matters to Americans, like the border crisis, immigration reform? It looks like his marching orders are coming from people like Paul Ryan. I have tried to give this Christian brother a break. This is Dr. Swain. It's time for Speaker Johnson to stop obfuscating and make good on his promise to release all of the January 6 tapes. Quoting scripture and talking about Jesus is no substitute for leadership. How is it? How is it that this Christian lies all the time, 100% supporting of what Israel is doing, killing all of these people in Gaza Strip and stealing homes and West Bank and leveling genocide? Christian! How does that work? And why aren't other Christians, all Christians who are actually Christians, calling him out? He's a murderer. This is how sick we are as a people. And we've been this sick for a very long time. And yeah, I mean, USA Boxing has announced for 2024 they will allow men who identify as women to box in the women's category.
USA Boxing has just released their new transgender guidelines for 2024. In the name of compassion and inclusivity, USA Boxing's new guidelines will allow men who merely say they are women to compete against the women. Of course, we already know that in about 99% of sports, male advantage is obvious. Swimming, track and field, the list goes on. But if there's one sport where it's crucial and dire that we protect the categories on the basis of our sex, it's boxing. Not only is the unfair competition being impacted, but women's safety is being compromised. I mean, can't you just picture it now? Mike Tyson wants to identify as a woman. We all know what the outcome would be in this scenario, and it's not bigoted or sexist to say it. And we've already seen this happen in the MMA. Back in 2014, Fallon Fox fought Tamika Brents, and to literally no one's surprise, the match was over in less than 45 seconds with Fox winning by a TKO, meaning Brents was, of course, knocked out. And not only was she just knocked unconscious, she fractured her skull and had to have 7 staples put in her head. Then Fox went on to tweet this afterwards, boasting in the fact that he was able to beat up 2 women and fracture one of their skulls. But my biggest concern with these new guidelines implemented by USA Boxing is now men are being glorified for beating up on women. Actually, not only are they being glorified, they're being called brave for such actions. And make no mistake, this is a slippery slope. Men are now going to be awarded prize money and titles and be deemed champions for punching women. I don't care what your political beliefs are, but if you see these new guidelines as something that is fair or just or righteous or moral by any means, you are part of the problem. Mark my words, it is going to take a woman being killed by a man in the ring before these misogynistic fools wake up.
Why are we doing this? Why? Why? You know, if you question that, a man identifying as a woman getting into a ring with an actual woman to box, you question that? You're a 5 denier. 2 + 2 = 4, not 5. But nobody is doing anything, and they can get away with whatever the hell they want. You have a few people who are raising their voices, trying to fight against these crazy, perfidious unrealities. They need more people. They need more support. They need more, well, we need Americans activated somehow. Large migrant brawl breaks out in New York City after someone cut a line of 400 asylum seekers. Oh boy. And this is only going to get an awful lot worse. Peter Ducey fact checks lying John Kirby.
Thank you. John, the people in this country making violent anti-Semitic threats, are they domestic terrorists?
I don't know that we're classifying people as domestic terrorists for that. I mean, that's really a question better left to law enforcement. I'm not aware that there's been such a characterization of that.
I just want to say, if you are a 5 denier, you're a domestic terrorist. On any issue. Yeah, that's where we are now. Migrants desperately seek shelter in New York City snowstorm.
Chaos breaks out as migrants desperately seek shelter. A melee broke out at an East Village processing center this morning. That is where our Stephanie Bertini is live right now with the latest. And Stephanie, what happened there?
Arthur, well, right now it's cold out here, it's windy, it's wet. During this kind of weather, the most vulnerable are most at risk. Here in New York City, that includes migrants and the homeless population, and that can translate into a range of emotions. We saw evidence of that here earlier today. Volunteers at Tompkins Square Park are helping migrants get some things that could offer a little comfort in the face of the harsh weather in the forecast tonight.
They hand us some food and this to keep us warm because it's very cold out here.
This man from Guinea, West Africa, is one of the many asylum seekers in New York City now facing uncertainty as shelters are at capacity. On a night like this, that uncertainty can create a range of emotions, including fear. And you're not used to this weather, right?
We are not. This is a strange environment.
Earlier today, emotions were high not too far from the park in front of the former St. Bridget's School, now operating as a shelter reentry center for migrants during this crisis, as limits on shelter stays were imposed by the city months ago.
There are literally hundreds every day lined up around the block, all the way to the next block and around the corner.
This morning, ahead of the storm in the forecast, police were called after an altercation broke out. The NYPD says 2 officers sustained minor injuries and 2 migrants are facing several charges now, including resisting arrest.
Look at these lines, and more are coming to you. Here. This, I believe, is Arizona.
We don't know what we're down, guys.
Sit down. Sit. Sit. Get on the wall.
We don't know what we're down, guys.
All men seeking the American dream. Ireland. This video should be all over Ireland today. Strange foreign men showing up in the west of Ireland trying to gain access to a building in the middle of the night. And you got women making sure it doesn't happen.
But when you have one opinion, so it means the opinion is to be in one hand. So all of you are talking for one goal and one
we
purpose.
now have over 200,000
now
views and
explain,
comments.
if you
all
are
standing
talking
with us
about
tonight.
the people you don't want, they coming here as asylum seekers here to Bunnyrobe or Ireland generally, or you're talking about because you're paying tax.
Don't try and get smart with us. Don't get smart with us. You're not coming in and that's it.
The people of Ballinrobe
Don't get smart.
Our local council
Yeah, we weren't
email
asked.
today. They didn't inform us until today.
Hold
and
on,
we
guys.
set up this group and
You have the
they
keys
say
to this building.
Ballinrobe
Where are they
says
from?
no. Read the sign. Ballinrobe
Where are the
says
people
no.
now that are coming to this building?
So bring it back to Mr.
fine.
We're not letting it.
And tell us to
Look at them.
come to Ballinrobe.
Fucking Iraqis or whatever they are.
It doesn't matter where they're from.
I don't give a
Anyway.
fuck.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's about
Yeah, that's what I mean exactly.
Women. Quite right. Yeah, well, they need an awful lot of men with them as well. And here is interviewing a Venezuelan man about the truth of socialism. Another bus showed up at San Antonio, Texas, illegal migrant shelter. Count the number of women and children? You can't. You can't, because they don't seem to be there.
El problema en Venezuela es que hay una dictadura y el mundo tiene que saberlo.
The problem is that it's a dictatorship and the people need to know that.
Hang on, hold that thought. As we're interviewing the Venezuelan who's talking to us about the reality of socialism, had a bus just show up all day long here at the San Antonio illegal migrant shelter. You've got buses coming in from Eagle Pass, from McAllen, from all over the border, coming straight here, dropping off to Catholic Charities and the city of San Antonio and shipping them from here all over the country every single day. Got a line up right here. 90% men, guys. Look at that as they unload. Count the number of women as this bus unloads. 90% fighting age men. That's what's coming in. And these buses drop off all day long. They come here from Eagle Pass, from Del Rio, from McAllen, from Brownsville, come here to San Antonio, and then they're shipped out from Greyhound buses, from charter buses, from commercial airlines. There they go heading inside. Charter airlines, trains, everything coming to your neighborhood.
It's not good. So here, Maloney, where are you? You said you were going to be stopping this. All of these migrants coming into Italy, you said you were going to stop. She can't stop it because it's an EU directive coming from the United Nations.
Please, silence! No, bro, no joke, eh? No joke.
Where are the women? Spain.
Madre mía, cosa más grande de lancha.
Now, for sure, if countries wanted to stop this, they could easily stop it, so they don't want to stop it. An Irishman educates a cultural enricher who harasses women.
You're a rapist. You're a rapist. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Give my phone.
He hasn't got any phone. You need to be arrested, that man.
Give me jumbo.
Aaron, go.
No, what was he doing then? He was actually in the wrong.
Oh, everything is just going to really explode. But listen to this. Illegals heading for Europe. All men, no women or children, who literally tell us what their intentions are.
You're dead.
Boom, 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 boom. You're dead. You think maybe they should be vetting? There should be some vetting going on? This is the intention. And yeah, having landed in Europe, Abdul shows us, no, he is not showing us his culture. He is showing us his moral character. Individually. Let's not just, do the whole, oh, this is all Muslims, these are all Arabs. No. And if you think like that, you have base thinking, low-level thinking. You haven't done any work to spiritually grow.
السلام المره اللي فاتت قلتوا لي يا عبد السلام تاكل في الفريز وتاكل في الغله نتاع الناس، هذوما كلونا الفريز وكلونا الدنيا كلها. باش نوريكم ها يا غورة هذايا هاي. وحط لنا امشي بابا باش نوريكم تو شنو المال. هذا الفرماج يسموه ها، نحله الباكو قدامكم، شفتوا الباكو ها ناكل منه ها ونرجعه. شوف محنه من الناس. امشي بابا ها يا بابا. استغفر الله رمضانك بيدخل ولا بتاعنا من البيره نشرب واحد شكرا نشرب بالضبط. كاين الدار داركم شفتوا هاي المحل وريهم الناس شاو صلويته ها وترجعها. المال كثير ولا خوف من الفقر. اجاني بابا ها ولا عنب ها ولا عنب ما بنوا نعطوها كعبة فريز كما المرة اللي فاتت ولا اختانا؟ نعطوها كعبة فريز هاي. نعطوها نكملوها بالفريز. ما بنوا. يا ودي خناكلوا يزي ماكلونا واخذوا لنا سلعة.
Oh, London, telephone booth, personal toilet.
You see someone shitting in the fucking phone box. All in fucking Stratford. Fuck. Yo, it's not a fucking toilet. It's not a toilet, love. Fuck off. I could have been the toilet wiping your ass in the toilet. You look how it working. I'll fucking send you out of there. You're shitting in the fucking thing. Yeah, dirty bitch. Dirty bitch. I shit up in our blood clots, one box. BT connecting people with the shit. Yeah, go on. Dirty bitch. You see someone shitting.
Oh boy. Here. So, illegal aliens outside of the American Replacement Center in San Antonio says New York, Denver, and Chicago have collapsed and people are sleeping on the streets. We know American veterans are sleeping on the streets. We need to help them first. Okay, yes, of course, but...
ayuda con trabajo, pues. Vamos a buscar trabajo para
el... ¿Ustedes pueden escoger cuál ciudad elegir?
Sí.
Ok, ustedes...
La ciudad la podemos escoger nosotros.
Ok. ¿Y le dejan escoger cualquier ciudad o las cercanas o cómo es?
Por lo menos donde hay ayuda es Denver, Chicago y Nueva York.
Denver, Chicago y Nueva York.
Sí, es lo que nos han ofrecido.
De aquí del refugio los mandan a Denver, a Chicago y a Nueva York.
Es correcto.
Y si van a otro lado, pues aquí no.
Bueno, sí, lo que tienes que hacer es el cambio de residencia que tienes en los papeles y ya.
Sí.
Te vas al estado que tú quieres.
Porque es donde
hay refugio, pero esas ciudades están ya colapsadas.
Están llenas, están colapsadas. Demasiada gente.
Demasiada gente. La gente, ya tenemos paisanos que nos dicen que no nos vayamos allá porque están durmiendo en las calles y hay mucho frío.
Wow, so word is out. The illegals give each other messages and they know Chicago, New York, Denver collapsed. So all we have to do is change on the form where we're going to go. And the American taxpayer will pay for their transportation. Look, we've allowed this, okay? It will forever be a continual, unbelievably frustrating experience to recognize how we have allowed this. So, a World Economic Forum rollout microchips being installed into the hands of British citizens in exchange for UBI, Universal Basic Income payments of £2,000? I need to hear from my Brits on this. Is this really happening? A whole lot of people will line up for it. What is PCM? Linty London, Taylor News. Who else do I have from the UK? Not good. A woman took some... Oh, this is the Miami stuff. All right. Now, it's getting an awful lot of play, but not by mainstream media. So I think an awful lot of you know that there was like 100 cops showing up at a mall in Miami, and people were saying that there were very tall creatures, 8, 9 feet tall. So, holograms. I have posted, and this was years ago, so it's nowhere to be found. This video, I posted a video on a patent. The holographic technology that they have, they can literally, while you're walking down the street, another person's walking towards you, and they can make it look like the person's face is just melting away with that fabulous holographic technology. So, you haven't heard of it, Lindy London? Okay. So what this woman is posting on these giant creatures in Miami.
Okay, so this is what I did with the footage. I put it in black and white and then really slowed it down, as well as turned down some of the brightness. Watch right here. You can see something really tall and kind of translucent. Now here I'm going to back it up so you can slowly see it. You see how tall that is? And it's walking in front. Right there, you see it. And then it kind of disappears into the darkness.
Disappears into the darkness. All right. I'll link below to this whole thread on Miami. But this may very well just be a staged psyop. Right? Hey, bookend. Oh, you're very wet. Honey. Oh, man. Dry off on my pants. Okay, that's fine. Okay, you know, to soften up the public for that alien invasion, I am like floored with the life that has manifested. It's whatever. So all of these cops come to this mall. All of these cops. Wow, it was pretty. I've never seen so many cops show up. And they were showing up apparently because juveniles were throwing their sticks around and shooting firecrackers at people. So this man, his father is a police officer in Miami.
I heard about this. My dad's a police officer in Miami, and I mean, like, he's even running for sheriff, and I just talked to him. He didn't say anything about that. Hey, did you, have you been seeing the alien stuff? Did you see that at Bayside? Are you serious? You're joking. You're joking. I'm serious. Did they tell you not to talk about it?
How many times do you want me to slice the pie? I'm not allowed to talk about it.
What?
I do know what you're talking about, but I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Can you at least say, like, whatever? So they're saying it's like a fight broke out. Why did they send so many police cars? Are you serious? You can't say anything? You're no help, dude. I'm sorry. I heard about this.
Okay, footage of the scene. What a massive response for children with sticks and fireworks.
Everybody get inside.
I've never seen this many cops ever.
Viral on social media right now. First, our response to that big incident in Bayside Marketplace. What happened was there was about 50 or more juveniles that were shooting fireworks at people. There was also some looting going on. So officers that were on that scene were having a little bit of trouble containing it. So they called what is called a citywide 3, which every officer in the city responded. That's why you saw so much police presence for that call to contain that crowd. Now, there is now video going viral of 8 to 10 foot aliens walking around Bayside. Is actually just a person walking with a shadow. So I can confirm to you all here today right now that there are no aliens in Miami in Bayside Marketplace at the moment. So it's Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And
At the moment. He had to throw that in. At the moment. What are we... 2 plus 2 equals 5. 2 plus 2 equals 5. And what the hell? What the hell? You know, look, I want to say, what the hell have Americans become? But we've always been this. We've never taken care of one another.
I am. Miss Minifield, we have a warrant for you. For what? Not paying your trash bill.
A warrant for not paying your trash bill.
What? So you're gonna handcuff me and take me to jail? Yes, ma'am. I got to. Put you in these right quick, okay? They're gonna be in the front. Oh, wait. I got to, okay? You gotta be shaving yourself. Arresting an 82-year-old. I am so sorry, but the law is the law, Miss Minifield.
The most important thing in police work is called discretion. When you get the badge, you get a huge responsibility to correctly serve we the people. There's the letter of the law, and then there's the spirit of the law. If you're unwise and reckless with those two things, you could cause so much damage for this profession.
I am. Miss Minifield, we have a...
An 82-year-old woman who failed to pay her trash bill debtor's prison again? It's 7 o'clock. I'll end with this. Wakey, wakey. How do we manifest something healthy? How do we manifest a healthy society? Individuals, in the aggregate, of course, but individuals have to do work on themselves to get themselves right. Bump up from that low level. Raise their consciousness. Do that self-reflective work. Self-examination. So they can correct their bad behavior and never do it again. I'll forgive you of your sins, but sin no more. Sin no more. Oh, what does that mean? Well, sin no more. It means that you do work on yourself so that you're no longer acting like a creep. Natural law. You do not do things that hurt other sentient beings. That was bookend, by the way, walking across. So, live honestly, speak honestly, become a trustworthy human being in the world. You have complete and utter control over that choice you make every single day to bring your best self to life. Outside of that, you do whatever it is that you can, to educate people about what is taking place. But you do. It is a choice of yours. You can sit back and do nothing, or you can get out there, you can help people in your community, whatever family discord that you've got going on, you can try to mend it, help your family, help your friends. A whole lot of people desperately need help. But in our country, it's very hard to ask because people are quick to judge. Baseless, but they love doing it. It's easier, it is so much easier to kick people when they're down than to help raise them up. But you can see who are the good people just by watching what people do to one another. All right, thank you for showing up. Hope to see you tomorrow night. And on that note, stay safe, have that awareness going every single day. And good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.